We saw the brand new Indiana Jones game, and I got some extra info on that as well, just like some other big 2024 titles. Elden Ring DLC could be coming very soon, a new Far Cry game got rated, so a ton of gaming news. But first, let's look at Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, the remake. Maybe you remember that last year Kotaku reported that Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag was getting a remake by Ubisoft Singapore, the studio that is now finishing Skull and Bones, and also helped with a ton of other big Assassin's Creed games, and they also did the Siege of Paris DLC. Well, now spotted by Assassin's Creed News on Twitter, Isaac Tan, a lead cinematic designer who has worked on Skull and Bones and Assassin's Creed Mirage, now moved on to an unannounced Assassin's Creed project in 2023. We also got a lead artist on many Assassin's Creed projects inside Ubisoft Singapore, now also moving on to an unannounced project in September 2023, and high chance this dead Black Flag remake. And yes, I would argue we need an Assassin's Creed 1 remake way more, also because the game is just unplayable on PS4 and PS5 right now, but they're probably going for Black Flag because they can then use a lot of work they did on Skull and Bones, like naval improvements and other assets, for example. Because high chance that Skull and Bones won't get the 8-year-long development budget back, right? But yeah, they started in September 2023 on this Black Flag remake, so it will likely be a while before we see it. 2027 is my bet, like at the earliest, but it could also be later. And that's fine, like, take your time, because we have enough Assassin's Creed projects before that. Last year we also learned that Ubisoft currently has 11 Assassin's Creed projects planned, and that is without that Black Flag remake and probably the new game from the Mirage team, so there is even more. To give you a quick recap, we can expect Assassin's Creed Jade, the mobile game, and the big RPG Assassin's Creed Red this year, a multiplayer game by the For Honor team next year, Hexe in 2026, which is the Witch Hunt game from the Assassin's Creed Valhalla studio, and then before you know it, we're sailing the Caribbean Sea again. We did a live reaction to the Xbox Developer Direct this week. Thanks for joining if you watched with us. Let's go over the highlights, one of them being that Hellblade 2 is coming May 21st. We saw a lot of behind the scenes footage, and in particular the way that the voices in Senua's head are recorded, with two of these voice actresses like circling around the mic, made an impression on me. I found that quite disturbing, but really fascinating stuff. The game continues to look pretty. We saw a bit more of the combat, and really seems that every encounter is this huge struggle. It requires everything from Senua to succeed, even against the smaller enemies. They did talk about an upgraded combat system, but they did not really show it, and it overall feels like they're just holding a ton of stuff back, as we mostly saw a lot of like walking sections and no new set pieces whatsoever. Maybe it has to do with the fact that we learned that the game will be $50 digital only, and similar in length to the first game, so that would be 8 hours looking at how long to beat. Like, they of course cannot show a lot because there's simply not a lot here. I expected this to be bigger, also because the first Hellblade came out 7 years ago, but I don't mind a like shorter experience whatsoever. I now do expect an insane level of detail though in the hours that we do get to play. I really hope it lands. I'm curious to hear your hype level after this showing in the comments down below. We also saw Avowed again, and to be honest, I think the combat looks kind of fun. They showed the dual wielding mechanic, how you can mix and match weapons and do some great combos, like freezing an enemy and then hitting it with your sword. You can dual wield once, which looks great. The environments they briefly showed looked awesome as well, but it's clearly nothing we have not seen before. Like, there doesn't seem to be any hook or thing that makes this game stand out versus other fantasy RPG games. And as said before, it won't be fully open world, but we'll have like multiple zones instead. And while the voice acting was great, the sort of quest they showed was kind of weird, and the conversations already looked dated. And they showed this quest, and they talked about how your choices have a big impact on the outcome, but they did not really show the outcome, so it was kind of weird. I think I will have fun playing this game on Game Pass when it launches in fall 2024 though, although I could also see them push it to 2025 to maybe polish it up more based on the feedback from this Developer Direct, although they of course still have many months until the launch. This showing at least did not help me like get more excited for this game, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts in the comments. Now, the highlight for me was totally the Indiana Jones game, so let's go over that and way more gaming news. Of course, if you like these videos, leave a like, that would really help me out, and subscribe because I post a gaming news roundup every Sunday. Yes, my prediction was true from last week's Sunday video. Indiana Jones is a first-person game, but with some third-person moments. In particular, the cutscenes will be in third person and some traversal as well. So when you climb a pipe, for example, or swing with the whip. And the whip in particular stole the show, as an extra traversal you can also use it in combat, but also in stealth to create a distraction. Like hit the wall next to an enemy, they turn around and you can sneak past them. I get on one hand that people are sad that this is a first-person game, because usually these types of adventures like Tomb Raider and Uncharted are third-person, but I also think this approach actually gives the game a different expectation and makes it feel completely different. Like holding a torch and exploring a tomb is kinda cool, and also having a spider crawl over your arm when you stick your hand in the wall is just a different type of feeling. So yeah, I dig this new take on this genre, and it's also what Machine Games, the team of course behind Wolfenstein, knows best. And we still have the third-person cutscenes. They took Harrison Ford's likeness, as you've likely already seen, but Troy Baker is voicing him. It's set between Raiders of the Lost Ark and the Lost Crusade, and we'll of course travel across the globe to some very cool looking locations. It's a linear story-driven game, but there will also be optional puzzles if you want to test your brain. This just looks like a really fun time, and with it being on Game Pass, I just don't see why you would not give it a try if you like these types of games and have an Xbox or PC. It's of course sad that it's not coming to PlayStation, at least that seems to be the plan right now, although we of course last week talked about some potential Xbox games making their way to PlayStation and Switch, so never say never. Maybe they have a special deal with Disney and they will launch it like 2 years later, we will see. But yeah, Xbox has a very solid 2024 lineup right now, and maybe even more games that we don't know about, so kudos to them. I look forward to booting up my Xbox at least a few times this year. And we might also get a new Far Cry game this year, although it's likely not what you want. Like, it has always been weird that we did not get a 6.5 title. We of course had Blood Dragon, Primal, New Dawn. They're all inspired by the mainline title before it, and they even took place on the same map. For Far Cry 6, we did have the pretty strange Lost Between Worlds DLC outside of the Season Pass. It was fun, but you also did not miss anything if you did not play it. Well, seems like Ubisoft wants to do another Far Cry title before we go to Far Cry 7. A PEGI rating namely appeared for Captain Laserhawk Ninja Warrior by Ubisoft. So yes, based on the Blood Dragon Netflix show that aired in October last year, with the Ninja Warriors being these Power Ranger-like people inspired by Rainbow Six Siege characters. This game seemingly has us take part in a laser deathmatch and compete to eliminate the most opponents. So probably play one of the Ninja Warriors, they maybe have like different loadouts, and then we have to take out other players. There was also this side-scrolling game briefly in the Netflix show. Maybe it looks like that, although I think it's probably just a first-person shooter. According to the rating, the game will feature moderate violence in which human-like characters are shot using laser guns, but that the reactions to being shot are unrealistic, with characters breaking into parts when hit. So that's why it's got the 12 age rating probably. There will be microtransactions, and it was supposed to launch on PC on December 19th, but yeah, that obviously did not happen. So we will see what the plan is, but yeah, usually when it gets rated, it is close. I'm just not sure who this is for, but still might be interesting. Let me know if you are going to play this in the comments down below. I'm way more interested in the real Far Cry 7, but yeah, we will have to wait till the end of 2025 for that one. Okay, real quick, another thing that might drop any moment is the Elden Ring DLC. The Steam database has namely been updated for the first time in 2 years, with hints at it being for the DLC, as pointed out by Psystorm on the Twitter. Also, the Elden Ring playlist on the Bandai Namco US YouTube account has been updated a few days ago, which is very interesting. So that means that a video was like put into that playlist that is unlisted for now, and the last video of any consequence in this playlist was for the free Colosseum update. So it might be that they show the trailer and then it releases like a week or maybe a few days after that. Would be wild if the DLC dropped out of nowhere in the next few weeks, and not good for some of the other games that are coming out in February. One of those of course being Suicide Squad. We will get the third insider video this Monday, so one day after this video post, maybe it's already up, talking about the end game and the post-launch report, which should be interesting. Popular streamers like Dr. Lupo and Shroud were playing the end game a few days ago. I saw Cabooses video on it, link to it in the video description. And it seriously did not look that great from the footage. So one of the activities is you go into Brainiac's domain, which is basically the tutorial of the game as well, and then you do just one of the open world activities you will do throughout the game a lot as well. So sure, it's probably tougher, but it did not look like anything new. Although they did show some big progression systems that will be in the game once you reach the max level of 30. It seems infinite, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, they will probably show more in that insider video, especially seeing Joker as the first DLC character will be nice, I think. But in other news, the founders from Rocksteady who left in 2022 have now opened a new studio in London called 100 Star Games, focused on AAA production. They want to keep a small team of only 100 industry veterans and emerging talents who are committed to crafting cutting-edge gaming experiences that inspire and captivate players worldwide. So I think this is actually a pretty good outcome. Rocksteady will be focused on the Suicide Squad post-launch, so you will get that if you're into that game, while some of the veteran developers now left to join this brand new team with a ton of Rocksteady talent, so they're probably going to make something completely new, and hopefully it's a single player game again. What if they got like a deal with Marvel to make a Daredevil game? I think that would be insane, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. We will likely hear something maybe in the future. When we do, I will of course let you know here. So yes, this coming week we have that insider video for Suicide Squad. I will also be doing a talk at the Webwinkel Vakdagen, which is like a convention for web shops in the Netherlands, with some other people on stage. So that will be a fun experience, kind of talking about the channel and short form content. But yeah, we will of course also have more fun videos here on the channel, including a news roundup on Sunday and more content on our new experiment, the JorRaptor React channel, where I post clips from my podcast with Luke Stevens that I do every week. And I also did a solo video, for example, on the fact that Ubisoft said that gamers need to get comfortable not owning their games. Like, it's kind of blown out of proportion. I talk about it in the video that you can watch by clicking on the screen. So if you are curious, go there, subscribe, give feedback, leave a like. That would be really appreciated. And I will speak to you very soon. Goodbye.